But speaking of getting to business, and I'm glad y'all here, the Atlanta Falcons finally have made the decision to bench Kirk Cousins in favor of Michael Penix Jr. Um, I am not at all shocked with the decision because of Kirk Cousins' play. I think like the first 9 games of the season, Kirk Cousins had like what 17 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, and then
Correct.
these last couple of games before Monday night against Vegas, 0 touchdowns but 8 interceptions. So Kirk Cousins, look, we appreciate Kirk Cousins is really devastating for Atlanta, for UBRF, for UChamp, and Atlanta fans because at one point you were 6-3. Kirk Cousins at one point was looking like the favorite for comeback player of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and then he fell off a cliff. Folded like a lawn chair. So
Mm-hmm.
now for Atlanta, you got to go with Michael Penix Jr., who you drafted with the 8th overall pick. BRF didn't mind at the time. He didn't mind the Michael Penix decision. I know Undisputed World Champ had a problem with it because he wanted Dallas Turner from Alabama because he wanted to amp up the defense. So Michael Penix Jr., they seem ready to go forward with this kid. They want to do this because they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. Because again, it's still possible for them to win the NFC South. Tampa is now leading the NFC South, and Baker Mayfield is still trying to prove people all this talk about Kirk Cousins, all this talk about Atlanta. Have y'all forgotten we won the division? And if people forgotten how good of a quarterback that I am, Cleveland, you made a huge mistake letting go of Baker by going with Deshaun Watson, and look how that turned out for you. But with Atlanta, they're gonna move on with Kirk Cousins now. If they release Kirk Cousins, there's $65 million in dead money. However, if they trade him, $38 million in dead money. So that's a lot of money. Either way, I mean, you're gonna have to trade him because again, that's practically half. You gonna cut him and give up $65 million? Remember, champ, you went through quarterback money with Matt Ryan at one point. So, BRF, I'm gonna let you go first. What were your thoughts about the Falcons finally benching Kirk Cousins, going with Michael Penix Jr.? Do you think Michael Penix Jr. gives you the best chance for you to make the playoffs?
If Zach Robinson opens up this offense to Michael Penix Jr.'s offensive skill set and his physical attributes, yes, he gives the Atlanta Falcons the best chance to win out and make the playoffs because Michael Penix Jr.'s physical attributes allow Zach Robinson to fully run this offense the way he wants to run this offense. And it's not just the ability to throw from the pocket, which we know that's Michael Penix Jr.'s base. That's what he wants to do. He wants to sling it. He's got a sniper rifle. He's got a cannon of a left arm. He wants to stand behind that offensive line and sling it. But Michael Penix Jr. is also a 4'6", 40 guy. He's an athletic guy. He gives you the ability to run bootlegs, to RPO, to do things that Kirk Cousins just was not going to allow you to do. And Zach Robinson even said it himself. We talked about it last night. Zach Robinson had to disguise some things to mask Kirk Cousins turning the ball over and his limitations. He hasn't been able to run the full offense like he wants to. He's going to be able to with Michael Penix Jr. And it's about him building that rapport with a Drake London, with a Darnell Mooney, with a Ray McLeod, and I mean with a Kyle Pitts. His rapport and his chemistry with Kyle Pitts, in my opinion, is going to make or break the rest of the season. If Kyle Pitts wakes up and goes back to what he was doing during that Falcons winning streak, where he went like 26 for 298 and 3 scores in that 4-game stretch when they were just lighting everybody up. If he gets back to that, they go 10-7. They go 10-7 because there's not a defense left that can handle what this offense is going to bring if Michael Penix and Kyle Pitts get on the same page. Look, Drake London is Drake London. I'm not worried about Drake London. Drake London's having a breakout year. He's doing the thing. I'm not worried about Drake. And honestly, I feel like Kirk Cousins had started to get away from Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney's speed with Michael Penix's arm is going to make for a lot of fun on deep balls. It's going to be a lot of fun watching them connect on deep passes. And Bijan and Tyler Algier, not worried about them two at all. In my opinion, second best running back tandem in the league behind David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not worried about them at all. They're gonna do the thing. They're gonna do it. I'm not worried about them at all. I want to see Zach Robinson. I want to see him get creative with Michael Penix Jr. at the helm. I want to see him get creative. I want to see him fully open this offense up. Allow Michael Penix just to be him. You know he's a rookie. He's coming in. This is a first start. What we probably gonna end up seeing, he's gonna simplify the offense. We're gonna see simplified reads for him. Make it easier on him. But one thing I did notice, and particularly in that preseason game where he played against the Miami Dolphins, he already has an understanding of how to go through his progressions. He knows how to go to progressions. He's not a one read lock and go. You're gonna see a good bit of that in his first starter, I feel, in order to simplify it for him. But I feel like Michael Penix has the IQ and has the pocket presence and the ability to stand in there and be able to go through his keys and go through his reads and make the right decision. So I definitely think making this move was the right move. And I also understand people like, well, me and Flash, I love Flash to death. But it's like I get where he's coming from. It's like, well, and I think another one, shout out to my boy, shout out to the homie Kieran. He kind of said it too. The biggest complaint that people had with the move of drafting Michael Penix is giving Kirk Cousins all that money and then drafting him 8. And I get it. But I also look at it from the standpoint of like, you don't get him if you don't make that pick. You don't. I feel like you don't. Like, I seriously feel if Atlanta didn't draft him, Vegas was going to draft him. I honestly feel like the Vegas Raiders were going to draft him if Atlanta didn't. I mean, I understood it from the standpoint of they didn't want the quarterback room being what it's been the past 2 years, because ever since Matt Ryan was traded, because Arthur Blank played his trump card and wanted Mr. Satisfy You in Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I went there. Yes, I went there because he played his trump card and he wanted him. You forced the quarterback and Matt Ryan to have to go elsewhere, go to the Indianapolis Colts, and you kind of saw his career just basically like you knew he was done after that. And then it's been Marcus Mariota, it's been Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. Trash on trash on trash. We've had trash play at the quarterback position since Matt Ryan left. You get Kirk Cousins, you pay him all that money the first 9 games, like, oh man, you're getting the return on investment. And then the last 5 games is like, well, we're kind of back to square one because Kirk Cousins has literally forgotten how to play the quarterback position. So you had to do something. And shout out to Raheem Morris for understanding, yeah, we're still trying to get to the playoffs. Michael Penix Jr. is not a play for next year move. They are still trying to win the division. They are still trying to make the playoffs. Michael Penix gives this team the best chance to win because I feel like Zach Robinson is truly going to be able to call the offense to the fullest extent of how he wants to call this offense. And the first half against the Giants is going to tell me a lot about how this offense is going to run for the rest of the season, because if they're crisp, if they're efficient, if they're putting points on the board, and not just points, but touchdowns. If they are scoring touchdowns early, this offense is going to be fun to watch for the rest of the season, because Zach Robinson is going to be able to dictate the tempo and make defense do what he wants them to do, trying to react to them, and they're not going to be able to do it. I am excited to see where it's going to go. Like, I do get people's, criticisms with the move at the time at the draft. But this is why you do it. And I know some people are like, well, if they were that high on him, why did you let him draft? Why didn't you just let him play from the jump? We don't know. Hey, sometimes it's better to sit and learn. And Champs talked about it a lot. Sometimes it's better to sit and learn and soak that in, and then when it's time to go, then you go. I don't fault the Falcons at all for letting him sit and letting him letting him marinate a little bit for a little while and let him gain the knowledge. Let him see what Kirk Cousins doing. Michael Penix talks about Kirk Cousins a lot, brags on Kirk Cousins, his leadership, his veteran, just his IQ. He brags on him a lot. That's what you want out of a rookie quarterback, understanding where you are and what you want to be. Kudos to Michael Penix for that. That's really why I'm most excited about this move, because I feel like he's already showing a maturity level beyond his years, which is why I'm really excited about this. And I knew this should have been done. Honestly, they should have put him in after that atrocious first half Kirk Cousins had against the Chargers. I feel like they should have put him in then. But you know what? He's in now. Now you see what you got. Now you see if you get the return on investment. And I'm excited. I think he's going to do well in his offense. I think he's going to do well with the skilled players around him. And I really feel the Falcons have a good shot of running the table and finishing 10-7. I had them finishing 10-7 from the jump anyway, and I think they got a real shot to do it with Michael Penix. He gives them the best chance to win.
Talk to me, champ.
How could I follow that? That was amazing. BRF, man, that you basically wrote the book to us and just handed it to us and signed it. Look, piggybacking on what BRF said, man, it was time. It was time. And look, he's coming in at the perfect time. The defense is on fire right now. They're forcing turnovers. They're getting sacks, something that we didn't do in the first half of the season. Bijan Robinson coming alive.
1,100.
1,100. Want to see, hey, next year we want to see you break that 1,800 set by the great Jamal Anderson, but I digress. But look, when you talk about good situations for a rookie quarterback to come into, this is one of the best ones. You have a good defense. You have two hell of a running backs. Second best tandem in the league, right behind Sonic and Knuckles. You have good receivers. You have a good tight end. You have a good offensive line. Got a good offensive coordinator, good head coach. You only got 3. And your last 3 games, the only one that's worth any consequence is Washington. That's when you got to keep. But the Panthers and the Giants, you can go in there, find your feeling, and get to where you need to be. So, hey, at the same time, I will stress this. Atlanta, remember one thing. This is a rookie. This is a rookie. Don't let him come in there and play one series and then you start complaining about what you got. Because in the great words of T.I. Shawty, look what you had. 1 interception, 1 touchdown, and 10 interceptions the last 4 games. 1 touchdown. And it got so bad to the point where you see that Zach Robinson and Coach Morris, they just stopped trusting him. Because the second half of that Raiders game, they ran Bijan and Tyler Aguilar till their tongues was hanging out. They just ran them like, okay, just don't fumble the ball, just keep running. You saw it. So be patient, number 1. I think we can make the playoffs, number 2. I know we can make the playoffs. And like I said, show this young man some grace. Show him some grace. Hey, he's going to make mistakes if he makes any. Like I said, right now is the perfect time to make it because you got the Giants. They can't draw mud at this point on offense. And there's still a lot, although Bryce has been playing good, there's still questions about him as well. So as far as the offensive side of the ball. So be patient. I think we can get to those 2 games. The main challenge that I'm worried about is when we go up to DMV the DMV and play the watch PSP's Commander. That's my main concern, to see him face off against Jaden Daniels. I think there's going to be a good showdown. I think it's going to be a hell of a showdown. Two, magnificent up-and-coming rookies, especially with Jaden Daniels having the year that he's having. But if we can run the table these 3 games, which I believe we can, I think it's going to be something special. But the thing is, man, look, show this young man some grace, and he gives us the best chance to win at this point. And offensive line, you got a rookie in there. The quarterback can't throw on his back. Protect this young man and make sure he got a clean jersey.
And also, too, I think will also help out Michael Penix Jr. Incorporate the running game, get Bijan and Egler going, because that, and also get him involved in the running game as well. To your point, we know he's athletic. He ran a 4.6 at the combine, so don't ask him to throw the football 30, 40 times. Despite the fact you have Drake London, Darnell Mooney, McLeod, and Kyle Pitts, balance it out. Try to have more balance. Don't ask too much on his plate, and eventually he'll be fine. It's against the Giants. I get it. This is his first game. He is starting in this game, but don't put too much on his plate.